Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope you really enjoyed your day of Home Learning Extra yesterday. Just a reminder, this is the last day that these videos are going to be posted on the website. We're going to switch over to Teams from Monday. In our meeting today, I should have been able to show you how it all worked, but you won't actually be able to access your work via the website from now on. There's a letter that's gone out from Mrs. Youngman and all the details you need are in that. Okay, so no English today. We're going to get on with some science. So that means we're going to be doing our experiment for today. So let me just share my screen. Okay, so how does the amount of water used affect how much sugar will dissolve in it? Let me read on just to explain. So last time, if you recall, we did an experiment on some common kitchen items. We did some salt, some sugar, some flour and some pasta to see which items were soluble or dissolved in water. And we found out that sugar dissolved in water, but we knew this anyway, because in real life, we know that sugar dissolves in tea or coffee. But what we're going to investigate today is, does the amount of water we use affect the sugar's solubility, so if it dissolves or not? So basically, I'm going to be doing an experiment today where we line up some glasses, same amount of sugar in each, but the amount of water is your variable, just to see if we can find out what the minimum amount of water is that you need to dissolve 1 teaspoon of sugar. Okay. So for this experiment, you will need, I am going to do this experiment from my kitchen later. So you don't have to do it yourself. You can just watch me doing it. But if you wanted to, you can. So what you'll need is 5 similarly sized glasses. So like the same as last week. Water, warm-ish is ideal, but absolutely not boiling from the kettle. Just out of the hot tap, but you need to be really, really careful with this. Cold is fine, but if it's slightly warm, it tends to work a little bit better. You need a teaspoon to measure the sugar. A measuring jug is really, really useful as we get into larger amounts of water, but it's not essential. A pipette is good for one of them, if you can, or like a little dropper, and a clean teaspoon for your water measuring. I'm going to ask this week if you have an adult to help you if you're doing the experiment yourself. This is due to the fact that there's going to be lots of glass, and I don't want anyone to hurt themselves on water that is too hot. Okay, so this is what we are going to be doing. So here's our method. So we're going to prepare the 5 glasses by lining them up side by side, like I did on my kitchen worktop last week. You're going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar to each glass, and we're going to do that before we start. In glass number 1, you're going to add 1 drop of water using your pipette. You're going to stir the water and the sugar for a time you decide. I'm going to do it for 10 seconds. And then you're going to observe or see what happens to that sugar. In the second glass, you're going to add a teaspoon of water, which is about 5 millilitres. You're going to stir it for the same amount of time and see what happens. To glass number 3, you're going to add 10 millilitres of water, which is 2 teaspoons. You can either do it using teaspoons or your measuring jug. You're going to add this water to the glass, stir it, and see what happens. In the 4th glass, you're going to measure out 50 millilitres of water. So using your measuring jug is helpful here. Otherwise, you can just use 10 teaspoons worth. Stir it, see what happens. And finally, you're going to measure out 100 millilitres of water. So either use your jug or 20 teaspoons. Add this water to the sugar, stir, see what happens. Okay, so that is essentially what we're going to be doing. So you're either going to do the experiment yourself using that, or you're going to watch me doing the experiment in the video that I post below. Do that. Don't watch on, because otherwise it's going to spoil what happens. So you're going to either need to do one of those things and then come back to this video. So pause here. And then this is what happened. So what happened? So in glasses 1 and 2, the sugar didn't dissolve. There was not enough water to even cover the sugar, so it didn't dissolve. In glass 3, the sugar just about dissolved. So 10 millilitres of water is really the minimum amount required to dissolve 1 teaspoon of sugar. And in glasses 4 to 5, there was enough water to dissolve the sugar. It just dissolved as it did in our previous experiment. So this is what you're going to be doing for me. You're going to write a short, and I mean short, like 4 to 6 sentence summary describing the experiment we did and your findings. So this isn't like, like parents when we used to have science lessons where we used to have to write out like pages and pages of like method and stuff and predictions and things like that. So basically, you're just going to write, what were we trying to find out? Describe the method we used really briefly. It doesn't have to be very long. Include a diagram to show how we set up the experiment. And then the most important bit is, what did we find out? So that's your task for today. Yeah, so either do the experiment yourself, be super careful, or you have seen me do it, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so looking forward to swapping over to Teams on Monday. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to be much more interactive. I'm going to be able to see who is submitting their work, which is really, really going to be important from now on. You are going to have an assignment that you must do every day. Anyway, so bye from the website. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you on Teams on Monday.